Okay, so this is going to be a short video on prioritizations and the priority and the goal component, which I'm going to remove from DataCurator for the moment. And yeah, maybe a bit of background on why they were added and why I'm going to remove them. So first things first, I'm just going to put on some filters. So we're going to go back in time a little bit, and we're also going to hide. Um, hmm, It's interesting. It doesn't show it there. Okay, this one. So we're just going to filter by the actions by the current knowledge view. Okay. So if we go back to, yeah, the knowledge view here, the knowledge map, and we've got a couple of goals. So we started with some kind of parent goal. Maybe this is, I don't know, record a video or deliver a piece of work, whatever it is. And we made an action that had as its parent this goal. So this goal, this action might be a specific part of achieving this goal. And we've, in this case, it was started on the third and completed on the fourth. So that gives you an idea about how the actions link to the goals. An action has a parent goal, and initially there's not really much. Yeah, it's maybe interesting to do that. Where it gets kind of where the functionality was built was to allow for more complex projects to be delivered and to manage the kind of setting the priority between multiple simultaneous kind of competing goals, and also to break those goals down into smaller parts. So here we haven't got any other competing goals at the moment, but we have got some child goal, and we've set the parent of this child goal as this goal here, and it's got an action associated with it. So the parent goal for this action is this, the some child goal, and so this parent goal might be something, yeah, like record a video, and this one might be prepare the content for the video, or rather, you probably express it as a kind of like a past tense. So content's been prepared for the video, and then this one might be prepared the content for the video. And then okay, so this is on the knowledge view, and we also got this component down here, which is a prioritization. And you can't really see anything about this prioritization from this screen. But if you go to the priorities list, then you can. Oh, no, that's interesting. These haven't been filtered by. Okay. Right. Okay, I didn't realize that. That would have been good to have this screen, this ability to move, filter things by created at on the priorities list screen, and also to have that filter applied. Anyway, it's not, so that's interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll swap to this one first. So this is the component that you can see back on this knowledge view screen here. And it's got one of the goals having some kind of priority associated with it. The effort, it can be any number. It could be 100, it could be 1, it could be 0.1, it doesn't matter. In this case, it's 100% of the effort is going to go onto this because there's no other goals here that are being prioritized for this prioritization. I don't know what this expected date time is. I think it's the date from which this prioritization becomes active. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, okay. So just pretend that this one doesn't exist at the moment, that prioritization 0519 and this design project 2 and this one, because I just want to kind of keep it a bit simpler. So at this point, we've got one goal that's prioritized, the parent, and it's got an action associated with it. And this action was performed, when was it? Like the third and the fourth. And it's also got this second action associated with it through its child goal here. And so now if we go and have a look at the priorities map, I'm just going to have a look over here. Yeah, okay, so these aren't filtered either by the date. Yeah, okay, whatever. Um, so yeah, this one started here on, well, it's not obvious when it started. um, this is now the 19th of May. This is the current date. This is being recorded on the 19th of May, which is why this is in red here. Go and have a look at the view. This doesn't have any x-axis date time configured on it. So we could set that. So let's just say this origin. I think it takes the middle of the screen today. Not quite. Um, so time origin position 0 default time week month. Uh, let's set it to week. Hmm. Why has the other one disappeared? Month, week, month. Okay, that looks like a bug. Oh, oh no, it's not. Oh, okay. Month, week. But no, that does look pretty buggy, doesn't it? Anyway, whatever. Who set it to? So this makes sense. This parent goal, and I can't click on any of these things either. Yeah, interesting. Um, Basically, these little dots underneath the parent goal show you what actions are being performed to support this goal. And this goal, this blue here, is 100% the effort is currently on this parent goal. So you go back to priorities list and look at that one. That's why it's got 100% here. Yeah, let's just crack on into the other one then. So then, today we reprioritize. Maybe we've done these goals and these actions. So yeah, we were on this priority. We click copy. We made this one. It will have already made this new one here. I kind of want to run this through as an example. So let's just do it. Right, copy. You can see it's made, it's just copied the original content from here onto here. If you hadn't selected any of them, you could click add instead, and then you just add the numbers. We'll swap to, here we are in editing, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah, right. So when you've selected a prioritization, then you can enter any of the numbers here that you wanted. Let's just delete that one for a moment. So yeah, so this one here, for example, design project two, you could say, okay, this one was on one effort, and actually we want to bring this one in design project two, and we want it to be like 10 times the amount of effort. So you could do it like that, or you could put one and drop that one down to this some parent goal down to 0.1. So you could do it like that, whatever you want. But the idea then is that when you go to priorities screen, then you'll see the kind of the amount percent filling up is proportional to the numbers. Here, okay, there's another bug. It's saying 9% should say 10%. It should say 9% here. Pretty sure if you use whole numbers, then that bug would go away. Let's just do 10, 1. And then that's nice as well because then it keeps the effort as one and then the effort as one as well. Go back to this one. No, it's still saying 9%, 91%, whatever. I don't know what's going on there. Right, sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, these are the actions being applied. So this one, actions. Oh, what is that? Why has it got an A in the middle of it? Weird. Um, yeah, so the third and the fourth. So it was started on the third, finished on the fourth. And then what's this one? This one was, no, that's that one. Action two. So action two was start on the 5th, finished on the 7th. So then that's spanning 3 days, 5th, 6th, 7th. Although it's weird. Don't know what's going on there, but anyway. So I wonder if that will make yeah, so now it's only got 2 dots there. Yeah. So start on the 3rd. It was finished by the 4th, midnight on the evening of the 3rd, basically. And so it only had 1 dot on it. And then 4th, there was nothing. 5th, there was a day of works, and then it was finished on the evening of the 6th, basically midnight. So yeah, it's got two dots there. So it just kind of shows you how much effort was going on, and then I think there's a little one in there as well. Yeah, so like one action, one action. Anyway, that was a functionality. If you had two actions going on, so if this one was actually um, what is going on with that? Don't know. What does this one say? 505? Or who knows? Um, so yeah, if we go to action one, and then we instead say, okay, it wasn't finished on the evening of the 3rd. It was finished on the evening of the 5th. So it was basically worked on the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. So it would have finished on the 6th at midnight. Then you can see it says 1, 1, and then 2, whatever. That was a functionality. Okay, cool. Don't think there's much more to say. Obviously, on the knowledge view here, sorry, the thing from Zoom that you can't see, but it's right where that icon is. Yeah, on the knowledge view here, these are now showing. Yeah, these are showing because I changed some of the date times and created stuff. Yeah, it was looking like that. Then I don't even know why I'm showing this. This is irrelevant to the functionality of the previous one. Okay, so that's priorities, that's goals. Yeah, I guess actually, what about if we had some child goal? I actually don't know what it would look like with that. So if we're here and we say some parent goal is 1, and the child goal, before we didn't set any priority on it, but actually like the child goal is still like really important, maybe like 5, let's say. I think this will then bring it in as another row. Another row inside in this priorities view. You'll see 3 lines, I think. Yeah. Okay. So there's some parent goal, design project 2, some child goal. Yeah. And they're not ordered by effort, they're just ordered by kind of the first time that they were introduced into had a priority associated with them. So yeah, these two, I don't know how these are ordered. I can't remember now. It might even be that if we went back to here, priorities list, maybe that's ordered by effort, maybe. Let's try 15 there, see what happens. Priorities, no. Maybe it is by when they were added. So if we then delete this, so that's removed, we add it back. I don't know if this will work. So maybe that one will come first now. Priorities. Yeah, some child goal. Okay, yeah, so it's probably just the order that they were added in. Good. Okay, yeah, and you can also see these projects were split out to this one here, this child goal, some child goal, which didn't have any prioritization here. It's a bit confusing, but anyway. Now you can see the actions that are being performed underneath this priority. Okay, I think that's enough on that. Yeah, so I'm going to remove the prioritization and the goal, I think. And it can always be added back, obviously, but I'm just trying to lighten up the project, DataCurator, and I'll remove these, this priorities and the priorities list. And yeah, I think that'll be, because I'm not using them. I don't think anyone else is using them. And this is not the direction that I want DataCurator to go in at the moment. Initially, it was meant to be tool for map and manage complex problems. So yeah, what have I written here? Data is messy. The more types of data you need, the messier it gets. Yeah, DataCurator helps you understand complex problems by breaking down large, disparate, overlapping sets of information to modular component parts. Navigating a complex system requires gathering and interpreting a variety of data from a diverse range of sources, quantitative and qualitative data from different kinds of surveys, studies, research insights from numerous experts in different fields, sets and goals and priorities from different stakeholders. Yeah, so it's this bit here. I guess I'm dropping in this what I'm talking about dropping in this video. There are other features I'm going to drop as well. DataCurator allows you to build a usable, shareable model of a complex system to help you organize successful interventions. Yeah, I guess that sentence will still stand. Um, that's what I'm aiming for to help you organize successful interventions, but it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you do the organizing of the intervention part. All right, DataCurator, how does it work? Visualizes connections between different types of data. You can put all your different types of data into one place. You can't at the moment, but that's the aim. Then isolate certain components, identify relationships and patterns across the full range of data. There are two dimensions of time built into the tool. One lets you track your time, and then the tool itself allowing you to check what you did when. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna not remove this, but basically hide it. So that's this actions view, actions list here. I'm using it internally just for tracking my own project work, but it's just a to-do list at the moment. It's a Kanban. Icebox to do in progress done. That's it. There's no extra features. There's way more powerful kind of task management tools out there. And maybe one day one person will want to like integrate this into, they'll have everything inside DataCurator. Like, fair enough. At that point, it's open source. They can go back through the history. They can re-enable stuff. But yeah, for the moment, I'm going to hide this actions list from here. And in doing so, then we're just going to drop the knowledge one from here as well. And when there's a component open, then I think there'll just be an option to like make it full screen. So it's easier to, if there's a big description in the component, it can get quite hard to edit it or calculations as well. Yeah. Okay. So what else we got here? DataCurator allows you to plan for uncertainty built into potential interventions. Uncertainty is inherent to complex systems. Numbers may be inaccurate. People may behave differently than expected. Circumstances can change rapidly. Planning successful interventions requires accounting for various potential outcomes. Yeah, with DataCurator, you can enter a potential event into the simulated timescale of your planned intervention, then assign uncertainty to specific values. For example, you might say the positive test rate is at or below 3%. It's not a problem, but if it gets above that level, different scenarios emerge. Yeah, I'm trying to do more of this programmatically, and it's just, I don't think it's the right level. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think there's anything else there about data facilitates to aim and emerge decision systematic recording of all the key elements, status, processes, statuses, assumptions, emergent potential outcomes based on all the information you have. Intervene in it as long as information understand, interpret. Okay. Right. Let's pause here. Okay, so I'm going to demo the creation context. So that's this one here, creation context. And yeah, okay, so there's a few different functionality here. So we need to swap to editing mode, obviously, first. Control E. And then we're going to say, okay, let's just imagine we want to create the state of this thing according to some data we've got in a different system. And it was all from like a year ago or something. So we might choose today. Tip, you only need to set this for erase easing entry of historical data. If you want to view data you're currently entering in a lower time resolution, then use it to change the time resolution. Okay, fine. Yeah, so we might say, yeah, we're pretending it was all from May last year. And we want to automatically label it with, I don't know, historical data from system ABC. So go back to this one, automatically historical. Yeah, cool. And because we're copying and pasting in text that has I don't know, I can't remember what the use case for this for now was. I don't know. Let's just say every time it says house, we want to say dwelling or something, right? And so here, is this actually going to work? House ABC. Okay, I think that maybe it has to, maybe it's case sensitive. House. Yeah. Okay. So you see there, it's just automatically doing it. Now I'm just going to just temporarily turn that off and then just see. Oh, hmm, okay. Well, it is off. House. Yeah, okay. Well, that's a bug. House. Yeah, okay, fine. So now if I copy this and now we re-enable that, is that gonna work? That's no, okay. Right, so that's got some like caching there. It's all right, just a bug. So now I'm gonna paste what I copied before, which was that stuff there. Okay. So it's editing it automatically. So just paste. Yeah, okay. So it's just gonna anything that you put in either typing or copy paste, and it will change it. Right, and then we're going to just try and create a new component. And you can see there it's labeled historical data from system ABC, and the created at time is here. So from a year ago. Good. Yes, I've actually already deleted that in local version. I just haven't published it yet. We are currently on about version from last week, but I will remove all of that creation context component because I've used it very rarely. Thing is, if you're adding a whole bunch of data and you want to label it, then you can just, shift click, or you can just go control A, and then you can add the label here. So historical. I don't think it's going to do it because it's already in one of them. Let's do the historical. Yeah. And so I think that's a way easier way of choosing to bulk update labels. In terms of the created at, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it could even do that here as well, right? So today, it's interesting. Do that? Oh, well, that one's already going to have it created at 0519. Create at 0519. Yeah. But let's say, yeah, so you can't do it there easily. 240501. Okay. Now if we go this one, created at 2024, and this one same as well, right? 2024 0501. Yeah, so there you can bulk update those. The only thing you can't do is this kind of find replace, but then I think it'd be far better to add that feature find replace. And so you just select a whole bunch of components, and then there'd be some kind of find replace function here, rather than having to do it only when you're editing new information. Good. Okay, so this is another quick video on exploring moving components along the x-axis by time. So normally you don't see it saying show time, but I've already set it up so that you can see what it will do. So when you click show time, it's going to move these two components based on their state values when the state values are true. So we do this, and you'll see it's moved to the 19th. And that's because this is got this value from the 19th onwards. And this event has become true from the 18th onwards. Okay, that's about it, really. If we change this to some other time, for example, the 20th, you'll see it move. I'll send it back. We'll do that. If we add another value to the 19th now, that's now got a value of 2. Add that. So 19th 2, yeah. It's interesting. So I wonder how, I actually don't know why, how it gets to choose between which one it is. Hide time, show time. Let's also change this one to, oh, I think it just, if it's got more than one value, maybe it just doesn't do anything. Right. Okay. So it's got more than one value that it just won't pick anything. Fair enough. Okay, well, at least we know how that works. What else? Right, yeah, moving this grid here. So if we go to view, so we're now looking at this knowledge view for the data representing this knowledge view. So exploring moving components by time along x-axis. And if we come down here to configure the x-axis, date time. So if we just delete that, it's going to undo it. It's currently saying hide time. Oh, sorry, let me hide time. So this is how it normally says show set time. And so I'm going to remove this button as well. I'm going to remove all that functionality. But when you click that normally, I think it takes the center of the screen maybe. Yeah. And sets that to the current time for the simulated time. And so if you had a series of events, then you could position them accordingly. Now let's just remove this one to make it interesting. Yeah, good. And then if we want to modify this time, here's hide time again. So now show time, views. So come down here, and then you can choose different. I think this is basically like the amount of time that each increment is over. So this looks like it's currently set to a month. Would be nice if that was highlighted. If we click week, does it set it to a week? Yeah, it does. Okay, so that's now a week. And obviously that one's shot off over here because it's got the set date of 19th, is it? Yeah. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Doesn't look like it's quite positioned correctly. Let's put that on 21. That's because the view here is at 13. So if we change that to 0, I don't know why it's not being positioned exactly on there. Who knows? 18. Let's just change that to 20 so it does. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's using midday, maybe? 19. No, but then the other one would have been. No, that looks okay, fine. It's using midday on that day as the line, not midnight. Okay. Let's just go back to the view and just have a look at some of the other options. I'm going to remove all this, but yeah, so time origin position. So this is the position along in the actual map itself. So if we set that to like 0, everything's going to shoot off left. Yeah. And then set it back to 1500. It's going to come back right. We'll drop it back to a month. So each line is now representing a month. Timescale, I don't know what that is. 2? Is it just gonna, what would it do? Okay, so it's just zooming into the map. Okay, so it's keeping the same labels, 5th, 19th, 4th, 19th. Okay. Timeline number. Okay, so the number of lines. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you wanted to like represent more lines, you could do 40, something like that. They're going to go off into the past and into the future. Days between timelines. days between timelines. Okay, so this looks like, yeah, okay, so I set these as some sensible defaults. Defaults. Oh, okay, that's why it's not highlighting. Okay. So then you could say, well, actually, I'm interested in, I don't know, we've got like a 10-day cycle or something, or yeah, whatever. Okay. You don't think there's anything else to show there? Okay, this is about counterfactuals, which is a feature that I'm planning on removing. So what I'll remove is the component of type counterfactual, which I think is actually like counterfactual version 2. It's already gone through like 2 iterations. I've never I've never really used it, but I just wanted to document here what it was meant to do. So this is a state component, and it's got some eternal value of false. So you think something is false, and we're playing with the counterfactual and saying, oh, what happens if it was true? So this is a very simple counterfactual that just says it targets this component here. It targets the value at a specific time, in this case, eternal, and it sets it to true. And then we've got this additional box that says apply this counterfactual for this knowledge view. And you can untick it to say, well, actually, in this knowledge view, even though there's counterfactuals here and it's targeting this component, I actually don't want to apply it in this knowledge view. And I think the idea then, counterfactual sum state. Let's just have a look at this one. Don't know what this is meant to be showing. This is a counterfactual of some state. B. Okay, its value is normally B. This one is, okay, let's just edit this to make it more interesting. So let's say it's an A, and let's apply it in this view. And then let us add this component to, sorry, we've also got this time thing showing, which is definitely not needed. Okay, so let's add it to the knowledge view counterfactual. Counterfactual of some state. That one? Yeah, okay. It looked like it was that. Yeah, fine. Okay. So then when we're in, yeah, and so in this one, it's not enabled, but in the one above, it is. I mean, maybe actually you'd do it around the other way. In this one, in this view, you say it's not enabled, and then you'd say, oh, but what about we play with the counterfactual of it being enabled? So then you can, then if this was some different value, what would then make sense given this is that value? And then you might draw some deductions from that, or maybe it would, if we had a simulation running, it would then change the value of that simulation, all that kind of stuff. I've now added a way simpler, I think, way of doing this. It doesn't target a specific point in time, which is a benefit of these counterfactuals. But the other way of doing this, how would I demonstrate this? Let's say counterfactual using state value component. Okay, and actually we will set this as a state. No, we can't. That's interesting. So this is a state value, and then you target some other components at some state. Is it that one? Yeah, that one. And whatever validity predictions, value predictions you put in, then it will replace it with the values from this one. In this case, it doesn't have any, so it's just deleted all of them. Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's just clear that for the moment. And then we'll go in here. Just pop back up again. We'll just add this one to that one as well. Add to knowledge view counterfactual using state value component. Okay. Good. And then we've got the state value acting as a counterfactual. Okay. And then we target some state. Yep. And yeah, what's interesting here is that unlike with the counterfactuals, where you're limited in what you can only choose the options from this thing here. So if this one, I don't know, for example, we changed it to, let's change it to a number. They're obviously all not a number now because it doesn't make any sense to have A, B, or C as a number. But these are the only options you can choose from. Whereas this one, you can just change it to a completely different type. So why don't we just demo that? Kind of feeling a little bit more fond of the counterfactuals now. But anyway, I think we'll, sorry, it's other, wasn't it? Yeah. Hmm. Oh. Let's go to here. New value prediction. Eternal, set value. Oh, okay. Show advanced options. Okay, so by default, it's giving us these. So it's kind of hinting what we should do. New value prediction, but it doesn't stop us from adding a new value of, say, 100, which wouldn't make sense if the only options were A, B, or C. You know, if the options for travel were plane, bicycle, or car or something, and then we're adding 100, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, let us add that. Internal underscore, what the? Oh, right, yeah, that's because we haven't set any relative probability. So let's put that as 1. So now the value is being forced to be 100, and the other possible values are A, B, C, and unknown or uncertain. Yeah, interesting. Okay, and then if we go back to this level, then it's a B, and if we go to this one, then it's an A. You've also got these other symbols here. So this arrow kind of is meant to represent a counterfactual. Instead of going the normal way, we're now going this other way, and that links to this component here. Navigate up to parent. I don't even know what that does. What does that do? Okay. So I think I don't quite know how that's working because these ones don't have a navigate up to parent. Anyway, I don't know. That was an additional feature that I'd forgotten that I'd added. Um, yeah. At the moment, the reason why I'm favoring these state values is because in models like the double pendulum, let's just see if we can bring that up. DataCurator app. Public workspaces, sustainable examples. I think it's in examples. Example simulations. Yeah, double pendulum. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is a model. It's got various components. There is a simulation. It's just not, I haven't put it in yet. Yeah, okay. So here we've got a second version of this double pendulum. And all it's going to do is it's not changing any of the calculations. It's just changed the values. So I think, for example, this θ1 pendulum angle will change. So fix test double pendulum variation 2. Yeah, okay. So it's changed there. Interestingly, it can't. Okay, so I think I've broken something else about finding titles or something. But yeah, it's changed the values here to be 31.4. And this is actually a state value. So you see there's a state value that's on top. So you see behind is the original state component here. And so if we go back to the normal double pendulum model, that state value disappears and the state returns to this value of 0.1. Okay, I think that's it for counterfactuals. I mean, I'm sure there are other features in here that I've forgotten about that I've built, but that's the core of what counterfactuals can do. So yes, they target a specific moment in time and target a specific value of that moment in time. So we can demonstrate that, for example, if we add a new value, new value prediction, and set the value to A. Don't know if I want to do that. And yeah, so then we're saying from this time here going forwards, it's going to be value of C. Yep. Add that. And so then you can go show here. You can step back in time. So it's always B until the 19th of May 2025, and then it'll become value of C. Step forward. And when we look at this counterfactual here, I think what it will now be is a value of C. Yeah. But if we step back in time, then instead of being a value of B like it normally would be here, the counterfactual is going to be applied and it's going to set it to A. Yeah. Yeah. So these state value components, I guess they could do that. Double pendulum variation 2. Here it's just a really simple, we just want to replace just a simple number here. It's just a number, it doesn't have any times associated with it. There's no different probabilities. We're not forcing it. Yeah, because the other thing about this one is that there could be some uncertainty. So actually, if we go up to this level here, and instead of saying it is B, instead we'll say, well, look, we're really not sure. Like, we think it's probably B, but there's a chance it's A. Now let's put that at 2. And then again, remember these numbers don't have to add up to 1, but it's just a bit more easier to reason about. Yeah, we think it's probably B, but there's a chance it could be A, and there's also a smaller chance it could be C. And then the counterfactual, like, look, let's just pretend it's A, right? And so it's removing any of that uncertainty as well as forcing it to not be the most probable one, in this case B, but to be A. Whereas this one here just says, I don't care about any of the probabilities or any of the other values. I'm just going to force it to be 100. And but by default, at least the user is kind of prompted to choose one of the existing values, A, B, C, or in this case, 100 as well. Okay. Good. That's enough for counterfactuals, I think. Okay, this is a video on exploring substate, and it's also going to link into judgments and showing the time along the x-axis. Okay, so the idea with a substate is that you can have a state component and it can have various values at different points in time. So here you can see it's got an eternal value of false, but from, in this case, the 7th of December 2021, it's now true. And from this date here, we've simulated that it's probably going to be true, 70% chance of being true. And a substate allows you to say, at each different moment in time, what is its value, or for each different type of value, true, false, or uncertain, what is the value of that over different times? So, as in, as you change the simulated time down here, how does it change? And then you can narrow it down to a specific point in time and a specific value. And then that means that it's not going to change when you drag the slider here. And the only time it might change is if you apply a counterfactual. So actually, this also shows you counterfactuals in operation. I think that I will remove the substate component, at least from the available list of components that you can make, because I don't see a value in it that much at the moment. I think it was originally used for a plan. So you could say at this point in time, we're going to have this outcome. So you could say going into the future on this particular date here, or on this particular date here, what's the value going to be? What's the simulated value going to be? I can't remember now why I locked it down to a specific like true or false or whatever. But anyway, let's just see that in operation. So ignore this counterfactual. That will be applied to this state component when we go into that view. Behind this state component is a judgment. So it's a judgment of this Boolean truthy value, and it's basically saying when it's true, that's good, and its current value is green because it is true because the current date is 10. We're the 7th of October. So this value should be true to like 70% probability. So you can see the truthy value is mostly true. If we went forward in time to the 12th, then it's 100% true. And if we went backwards in time, then it's false. So it turns red. Okay. Now let's just have a look at the different substate values that we've got here. So we've got this grid of 4x4. And the first one here doesn't have any specific time point or value. So it's just basically reflecting whatever this value is here over time. So you can see as we move it forward, it changes to that and then changes to that. And so this is basically just a copy of this particular value. Then we've got, going down this column here, these ones are then locking to a particular value. So truthy, falsy, whatever. And again, we're not expecting them to ever change because why would they? You're just asking what. I'm not even sure what this is particularly doing here in this context. I think probably you would just never use this. You might as well just write truthy or falsy or whatever. Up on the top row, however, this is the value at different points in time. So unlike this one, which can change as you change the time here, this one isn't changing because it's set to, in this case, this one is eternal, this one is the October the 7th, and this one is the December the 7th. And we're not asking for a particular value, it's just saying whatever the value is. And you can see here that the false, this 70% true, 30% falsy, and 100% true, or truthy, those values don't change. The only thing you can see here is that swap to this pink uncertainty. And so what this is saying is, okay, we're now in the future relative to this simulated time. The value, we should know the value now. Like, why is there uncertainty about this value? And, obviously there could be a legitimate reason like, well, we just haven't gone and measured it yet. That's fine. But it's just highlighting the fact that we're now in the future, but we've got uncertainty about something that is in the past. Yeah, I mean, you could argue, you can obviously think of loads of cases where that's a kind of a valid thing. And so you wouldn't really want to highlight that you've got uncertainty because there's uncertainty with everything Not everything. Well, philosophically, I guess there's uncertainty with everything, but practically, there's most things don't have uncertainty in the. No, not most things. A chunk of things don't have uncertainty in the past, and some of them definitely do. And a subset of those you want to be reminded, like, oh, we're uncertain about this, but really we should know what's going on now. And so I wonder if that one changed to pink. No, that one didn't change to pink. That's interesting, isn't it? Why did that one not change to pink? But that one did. Hmm, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, this one's obviously the final date. And then you can see these ones are then for each of these dates, the particular value. So here you can see truthy is 0%, and it doesn't matter when you look at, it's always going to be 0%. This one's 70%, doesn't matter when you look at, it's always going to be 70%. And this one's 100%. And likewise, the corresponding 0, 30, and 100%. These ones are the uncertain value, so like the uncertainty. And there's actually nothing shown here. So if yeah, we're in presenting mode. So it doesn't even have a question mark. So it probably should have a question mark. 'Cause otherwise, you're like, I don't know what this means. We swap to editing. Yeah, it still doesn't have a value when we're in editing. And then the only other thing here are these symbols. So this symbol here means that we've locked it to particular date time. I don't know why it's not showing up as we hover over it. Yeah, specific date time is set. This grayed out one means it's not set. This one means we haven't locked it down to a specific probability, or sorry, specific possibility. And this one means we have locked it down to a specific possibility. I think it'd be nice to show those symbols at the top level. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm removing this component now anyway. What's the other thing to say? Yeah, the colors were also broken. I don't know when that happened, but I will put in that fix and then I will revert the whole or remove the whole component. Okay. So you can see there how the judgment works with the different state values as well. And then I think the only other two things I want to show is counterfactuals. So when we click on this one, it's going to activate a counterfactual of this at a particular point in time. So actually, let's just have a look at the counterfactual first. So this is saying for this date here, the October one, we want to force it to be false. At the moment, there's a 70% chance of it being true, but we want to say, no, it's false. When we activate this one, currently on this date, so this thing isn't going to change. If we were on this one here, then it should change. And also these should all change. This one should change to false. This one should change from 70% down to 0, and this one should change from 30% up to 100%. And actually, this one shouldn't change. So let's just go and have a quick look at that. Yeah, so this one's changed down to, well, sorry, that one's not changed. This one's changed up to 100%, that one down to 0. This one's changed to show falsely. Interestingly, this one does show the extra kind of parts here. So this, if you click on that, you would go back to this counterfactual component. So let me just deselect that. So click on that, you go back to this counterfactual. You can see this one showing the same link to the same counterfactual with an invitation to like go back up to the top level so you don't see the counterfactual. I don't know. And this one as well is also showing it because it's just a mirror image, not mirror image, it's a copy basically of the state value of the actual state component. Good. And then the last part would be to say we can arrange these components by time. So here, when I made them, I all manually positioned them. It's probably easier to do that for a small number of components, but if you've got a large number or they've got weird different times, then there was this option here. So I've already set this up and the option is already activated because it's showing, the option to hide time. So if we go and click on this one, they're all going to spread out based on the time that they're meant to be active. So here you can see the 7th of October and yeah, 7th of December would be here. If you wanted to then capture those at those particular locations, I think you could probably do add to current knowledge view, and then it would capture it at that location, maybe. Let's give it a go. Let's just see. So add to current knowledge view. You can see the outline there changes to black from the light blue. You can see around the edge here, so it means it's actually added. And now if we turn off hide time, yeah, all those other ones move, whereas this one's now kind of captured in that particular location. Okay. Yeah, there's some other things here as well with numbers and the other type and an action, and anyway, I think that covers most of what the substate thing was trying to do. Good. Okay, so this is a video about the validity functionality, which I'm going to remove. And this is a statement, which you can see is currently saying validity of valid. And it's got validity prediction here. And so if the probability is above, it's 51% or more, then it's valid. And you can see on this statement, it's got a validity prediction of 50%, and it's saying invalid. Now, when you swap to the presentation mode, you see that although it says invalid there, actually when you deselect it, that invalid disappears. So it actually would have been useful to see valid versus invalid. The opacity here is given by the validity. So even though this is, valid and invalid, the opacity is basically the same. So that's not great. Here, these two statements here, the opacity is actually given by a function of the probability and the confidence. Can't quite remember how that's calculated. I think it might be the minimum of the two. But you can see here that the confidence, even though this one's at 51% and this one is at 50%, it's still saying it's valid. So whether or not that's a bug, I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're removing it anyway. And then the last one here is on all the components in the edit view, you've got these three connectors. So you've got this kind of meta connector, the validity, and the state. And the idea was, so if you look at this connection here, is going from the state of this component here, which has a value of 0 that we've set it to 0, and it's going into the validity of statement 3, but clearly it's not having any effect. So I don't think I ever implemented that. I guess it could do at some point. That was the idea, that you could set the validity of different statements based on other state within the system. So as things evolve and change, then they can affect the validity. And then if this had some state associated with it, we set that to like a number, and then set some new value, like 100. Then, because this is saying the validity is 0, then obviously this statement would become invalid, and then that number wouldn't then go on further. Anyway, but that's never been built. So that's a validity component, which validity field that I'll be removing from the components.